And really the symbolism here is passing the message from one to another and asking for other people to do the same, to spread the word of this incredible thing that we're about to do. And so we're at the launch of this 100 days, and that the message is simple. We know out there are hundreds and thousands of people who are concerned, who are worried about what's going on in the world, who believe that a better, fairer, happier, healthier future is possible, and that believing that our political system isn't working, our political system isn't delivering the changes that we need. So we're asking all those people who in the past have said about Extinction Rebellion, they don't believe that our methods are effective.
It's a bit dark here against the sun.
So people who are wondering about saying, you know, they agree with our message but not our methods. People who say, you know, I like what you're doing but somehow can't quite bring it to do it themselves. This is what we're here today. We're launching this action. On the 21st of April, we're going to have 100,000 people down to London to act in a protest, a sustained protest. And this is the difference. We're not just going to come for one day on the 21st of April. We're going to come and we're going to stay until our voices are heard. I guess you can see those nice flags coming across the bridge now. And we want our voices to be heard because right now at a time of history we are knowing our planetary health is in danger. Our planetary life support systems are collapsing. And if we're not careful and if the government do not act, we are going to head towards a very, very dark place for ourselves and all the people we care for and all the people to come. We have to recognise that we've been working super hard these last few years doing peaceful, non-violent direct action. But a moment in history, a moment in time where our government hears the voices of so many good people. We know that out there's workers, there's people concerned about the sewage in their rivers, worried about their local woodlands, people who are worried about the sea, people who are worried about air pollution and the pollution in their lungs, people who are concerned with energy security, people who are concerned about food security. A lot of these issues are pointing to the need to quit an end to the fossil fuel era. And we know because our political system doesn't seem capable of dealing with this, that we need a citizens-led transition out of here, out of this place to that healthier, fair. The message here today is unite to survive. And we're going to see this symbolic action passing the message all the way along the bridge. It's going to be really cool and interesting to hear what they've got to say. We're going to head up there in a moment. We're just going to wait to see this banner unfurled. And the message is clear. Right now we're calling on all those people who up to this point have not thought that protesting is something that they can do. Maybe they've been put off by some of the negative media attention that Extinction Rebellion and other protest organisations have gathered. Perhaps people are put off thinking, you know, it's not the sort of thing that they can do. But on April the 21st, we're going to bring people together and we're going to get 100,000 people. This is all about mobilising in the community. We've got programmes for outreach, we've got programmes for inreach, calling on all our rebels who've been around. Here, that's the banner being dropped right now. I don't think we can see it though. I think that we're being a bit backlit, so it says unite to survive. I don't know if we can zoom in a little bit. So it's a beautiful, massive pink banner. 21st of April with a heart saying unite to survive in the classic Extinction Rebellion pink colour. And so now we're cruising along, going to go to the end of this line of people with flags, and there's a message being passed along all the way along this line of people. It's a really beautiful scene. It's a shame we can't quite capture it with the lighting here, but I'm sure there'll be some photos of it later on in the morning to show you. It's a beautiful crowd of beautiful people calling on all people who care, on all people who want to see a better future, on all the people who are out there working for a better future, who perhaps haven't felt able to join Extinction Rebellion in the past. And so, yeah, we're here today just to basically spread the message. We're asking people, this is the launch of 100 days. This is the launch of our campaign to mobilise 100,000 people on the 21st of April. And we are not just going to come here for one day. We're going to come here until our message is heard. And look, behind me, I'm standing, the House of Parliament, with Big Ben. This is the seat of our democracy. And if we cannot go there in this democracy and make our voices heard, what can we do? So we're here now, we're launching this thing. This is going to be massive. And we know that right now, something like 80% of people in this country are very concerned about what's going on with the environmental emergency, with the climate emergency, with the nature crisis, whichever phrase you want to use. But a lot of people are a little bit unsure as to what they can do. They're perhaps a little bit unsure of how they can make these changes happen. And we're saying we've got an answer. Come and join us. Come and join together. Bring your friends, bring your group, whether that's an allotment group, whether that's a local food group, whether that's a campaign to save your local woods from development. Who knows what it is? But we know that there's people out there that really care. We know there's people out there who care enough but haven't so far stepped forwards. And so the message here is to come together, collect up all those good people that we know are out there, and let's make this a moment in history. So we're going to come along. We can see we've got all sorts of people, a lovely crowd. I don't know if we'll be able to see that now. Yeah, we've got flags all the way along the bridge, and it's looking good. We've seen the banner. I don't know if we can actually see the banner from this angle, so I'm afraid we're going to... we might not be able to see the banner, but we want to make sure we hear this message that's being passed along the bridge. That is the critical thing about today. We're talking about bridging those gaps, bridging and uniting, because we know in our movement, across all of this movement full of good people, that sometimes there seems to be these divisions. But right now, at this point in history, we're talking about bridging those gaps, getting across the divides and coming together. We recognise that right now, the situation that we're in, we cannot keep going like this. We have to create some changes. And so many organisations out there are realising that our political system is incapable of delivering these changes. So we are basically going to start really working hard for that citizen-led transition out of this fossil fuel era, which will, I believe, and I believe many people out there believe, create this society that is fairer and happier, healthier, a society that is actually worthy of the young people that are coming into the world right now, that will look after and protect life on this earth, all the beings that are out there, all that beautiful natural places that we know are under threat from pollution, development, over-exploitation. We're also looking for a fair and sound transition out of this fossil fuel era. We already know that the suffering around the world is very, very uneven, it's very disproportionately borne by people who are not contributing to this crisis. So we know that it's unfair, and we're asking for people who believe that it's unfair and that we need to change. We're asking those people to come and join us in April. So we're just waiting now for this message to be passed down the line. My understanding is it's going to be passed in what's called a mic check style. So this message is going to be passed from one person to the next all the way along. And once that message starts coming through, we'll make sure that you get to hear that message. But I want to also just talk a little bit about, this 100 days is starting from today. This is a call to action to all rebels who are out there. Any rebels who've not been involved for a while, who've been taking a break. Any rebels who perhaps have left during the pandemic. Any rebels who are thinking to themselves, I'm not that excited at the moment about Extinction Rebellion. Now is the time to come back and get excited. We need all our best rebels. We need all our rebels to come out. Everyone has a role to play. We need people who can help. We need people who can support the work. Come back to your local group. Start having those conversations. Those conversations are really, really important. We're asking for people to talk about what's going on in the world. Talk about a plan for change. Talk about the way that so many of these issues that we're facing, so many of these crises that we're facing at the moment, have a path through that involves transitioning away from this exploitative, ecocidal, destructive, self-destructive addiction to fossil fuels. We need to transition away from those things. And we want that citizens' assembly. We want those citizens' assemblies to collect the wisdom of ordinary people. We trust ordinary people when it comes to juries to make life and death decisions. Well, life and death decisions, life-changing decisions about how people's lives are going to carry on. We trust ordinary people when they're in possession of the facts, when they're in possession of the full details. This is what Citizens Assembly does. It brings ordinary people together, a collection, a random cross-section of society, and we put them into a room. And it's not Extinction Rebellion that organises that. It's not Extinction Rebellion members that are in the room. It's ordinary people. And those ordinary people would come together and work out together a way of getting out of this fossil fuel era that actually works for ordinary people, that actually is fair and sensible, not corrupted by those vested interests, not corrupted by the short-termism that paralyses our politics. So we're really, really hoping that this idea, we believe, is already well planted out there, that we need a citizen-led transition. We need to involve ordinary citizens in this transition. We know that that transition will result in a healthier society, will result in a healthier way of living, will result in better community, physical, mental health. We're thinking that it will create more opportunities, and I think it's going to be really, really strong if we can get our government to listen, because so far our government seems totally hell-bent on pushing protests out, stamping on the protests, quashing the protests, silencing the voices.
It's happening right now. It's happening right now. It's happening right now.
Rectify the system.
Collective action will disrupt.
Any more?
Collective action will disrupt.
Collective action will disrupt.
To rectify the system.
Rectify the system.
So the message is being passed now along, passing the message.
It's happening right now.
Easy to see divides.
It's happening right now.
What was the last bit?
Those in power profit from the problem.
Those in power profit from the problem.
So the message is being passed along, and this is about it, passing this message of hope, passing this message of mobilisation across the divides that bridge, that keep ordinary people, keep people from getting together and creating the changes that we know are needing. So many people these days realise that something is wrong, that things aren't working right, but lots and lots of people out there don't believe that the change can happen. But we're saying we have a mechanism, we have a method, and we're going to get people to pass this message across the bridge, pass the message across the bridge that divides us, so we can hear that message, so that the government hears our message and makes it clear that we want that citizens-led transition. I think we're going to cruise up along the bridge a little bit further and see if we can get back hold of this message that is being passed. It's a really strong message of hope. It's a strong message of hope in the future, of hope in a better than what we have right now. And it's all about trying to explain to people and show people that we have a way of doing things with Extinction Rebellion. Our recent announcement, the We Quit announcement, caused quite a stir in the media, and that is really important to recognise that the media have a huge role to play here. The media so far have focused far too much on the tactics, on the methods that Extinction Rebellion and other protest groups have used, rather than conveying the message behind what's been going on, the why. They've focused always on the what and attacked the messengers. And now we're hoping that if people will see that we are taking a different approach, more people will join. They will be less inclined to criticise these methods and more listen to the message that we're taking, and that is that ordinary people need to be involved in our democracy. Ordinary people's voices need to be heard so that we can transition out of this fossil fuel era to a fairer, safer, happier society than we have right now. Change is possible. So I'm just going to go and see, we've got a little bit of music coming along here, some people singing. Yeah, so I wonder if we can try and see the banner. But I'm also going to try and see if we can find someone to speak to as well. There's lots and lots of beautiful people here, lots of nice flags. There we go. I think it's going to come into shot in just a moment. That's the shot that we wanted, but we wanted to go to the other end of the bridge so we could hear that message coming through. Not quite sure we managed to get that through to you, but it was a really nice message. There you go. In front of the House of Parliament, in front of the seat of our democracy, and that is our tactic now. We're going to bring people to disrupt the power that is holding us back, the power that is not listening to us, the power that is preventing a safe future for us, our loved ones, and all life on earth, and all the people out there that we don't know. We always have to remember those people suffering right now from the effects of ecological collapse, people suffering for years perhaps, all the challenges, all the difficulties that they're facing. In this country we get the odd heat wave, which has been absolutely brutal. We get floods, but people out there are starving, dying for all sorts of reasons, and this is because of the knowing and understood process of climate change and ecological destruction that our governments seem unwilling to rein in. Yeah, I'm super glad we came down here to have a look at that, because it's just a really nice sight. Look at all those flags billowing in the sun, in the wind. We've got a nice sun catching on Big Ben. And so let me reiterate, you know, this is Extinction Rebellion. This is the launch of our 100 Days campaign. My name is Etienne Stott. I'm doing the live stream here today. And I'm just calling on everyone out there to come and join us in April. On April the 21st, we're calling on everybody who believes in a better future, believes that a better future is possible, who believes that what we're doing right now needn't be, that it doesn't need to be like this. We're calling on people who in the past may have seen protests on TV or in the newspapers and thought, actually I agree with what they're doing, but somehow, you know, I don't want to join them. You know, they've got all sorts of things going on. Perhaps people have been watching the news, watching the TV, saying, you know, they've heard all the media saying, you know, they don't like this disruption, they don't like this way that Extinction Rebellion have worked in the past. Well, right now we're changing our methods, and we're doing that to include you. We're asking you to come and join us on April the 21st. Bring your groups, bring your pals. We need you. Consider it an investment in your future, I would say. And we know that right now, you know, there's hundreds of thousands of people out there who care. Hundreds of thousands of people out there who are working towards that better future. And the message here today is unite. Unite to survive, to bring everyone together. That's what we're aiming to do. Extinction Rebellion is calling on those people. There's so much more that we can do if we come together. So we're here right now thinking to ourselves, you know, this is 100 days. We've got 100 days ahead of us where we're going to be working around the clock, really pushing hard. We need all of our rebels. We need all of you good people out there watching this stream to come back to your group, come and join us and get involved in this campaign. So I'm going to just bring someone I've spotted in the crowd here. This is Lizard, who's part of the 100 Days team. And I'm sure, if I can get the flag out of her face, that she'll talk to us a little bit about, what's been going on here today and what the message behind it is. Welcome, Lizard. Beautiful morning. I think the sun, as always, shines on the rebellion. But it's nice to see you. So, go on, tell us a little bit about what's going on here today.
Well, we're celebrating the start of a 100-day countdown to the 21st of April. Obviously, we all know we've got a change to make. We need enough people behind that change. So this is about connecting over divides. We're here over a bridge. We've been known for coming to Westminster Bridge previously. As you can see today, the traffic is flowing freely. There's no disruption happening. Just free flow traffic and a lot of people with our flags to mark that we're here today starting that 100-day countdown. So a bit of a symbolic moment.
And this 100 Days campaign, this is an epic undertaking that Extinction Rebellion have taken. No, Extinction Rebellion is an amazing organisation. This is one of the reasons I joined it, because it doesn't just say, what is possible, it does what is necessary. And what is necessary right now is this huge number of people to get involved in this fight. We know the people out there believe in better. We know that people are wanting better, and we've got a plan for that, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone knows, word on the street is that things aren't working. We can see now the crises are connected. Like, people get it. The alarm has been raised, and is, credit to those who have made sacrifice through public disruption and countless other methods to get that alarm raised. It's absolutely essential that we build on that now and mobilise the people who are absolutely, terrified of the future. We speak to Extinction Rebellion, and many other movements speak to lots of people who don't see themselves as part of the solution, and that's the change that we need. We need to realise that people have got the power. This democracy that we have is controlled by the people, not by it shouldn't be controlled by the wealthy interests. Like, we need to take back that power, and we need to drive our future somewhere completely different to where it's going. So people need to be able to see themselves in this and see that they can make a change. So that's what the mobilisation's for.
And I think that's what's really nice here, isn't it? We know that members of Extinction Rebellion, it's a wide crowd. There's all sorts of people in it with all connections already to all sorts of groups. People in Extinction Rebellion support each other to face this crisis, and they've got links all around, and we're looking to build those alliances with all sorts of other groups. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, being on your own and being terrified is a nice place for anybody, and lots of movements have already done great things in the space, but one movement isn't going to do this alone. It's about movement of movements, about coming together and realising that our issues are connected, so that we're not one movement on our own. We've gone from being individuals, we've gone to movements. Now we need to link up those movements and truly unite to survive.
And that's the thing, isn't it? I think when I first started off as a rebel, I just, wanted to look after the planet, these beautiful places that we have that are in danger. But actually, as you come to realise, as the more you learn about this, you realise that climate change, climate collapse, ecological breakdown, whatever one, is just a symptom of an exploitative, horrific system that we have just grown used to and grown kind of comfortable with, or grown uncomfortable with. And we are seeing now, I think, the last years of that. We need it to change, and Extinction Rebellion has never been shy of admitting, we've got a problem here, and offering a pathway for people to change.
Yeah, absolutely. This isn't just about the problems. There are solutions, and they're being kept from us by those who want to perpetuate more of the same system. But that's exposed now. The education system is a failure in giving people the tools to make the changes, but that doesn't mean that we can't empower ourselves and each other. The changes exist, the opportunities for change exist. We just need to drive that change. This isn't a moment to hand over the reins of the future to people who are, causing the collapse of the planet. This is a time when we need to come together and recognise that that's not okay, and we have the solutions. They've been kept from us. We're running out of time. We've run out of time.
Absolutely. Well, listen, it's lovely to chat to you here. I'm going to cruise along and see if we can't speak to a few other people. But yeah, I want to say, thank you from me. I know the 100 Days team has been working super hard. I know so many people in our movement have been working hard to bring ourselves to this launch moment. I know lots of groups out there are already working out their plans. We're calling on today on everybody to come and get involved. And if you're a rebel, get involved. Lizard, thank you so much.
Welcome.
And
Yeah,
let's go.
Not just rebels. We need everybody. You don't have to become an Extinction Rebellion rebel to make a change. Just step up and join something. Be part of it. Be here April 21st. You don't have to dilute yourself to anything. You don't have to be a rebel. Just come and make a change. Now's the time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right, let's go. Let's go. So, I'm really enjoying the look of these flags here today. All the different colours, all those different elements of our movement. We've got scientists, we've got doctors, we've got healthcare workers, we've got teachers, we've got physiotherapists, we've got social workers, we've got all sorts of people involved in this. People who are good people who feel a sense of responsibility, people who feel that standing on the sidelines is no longer an option. And the methods that we're going to use from now on, this temporary pause in these disruptive actions that we've announced, is to allow and to encourage people. We're going to get everybody to come down. We've got this thing called a ticker, which is about getting people to sign up and put their name down on a form on the internet. You'll be able to see that. I'm sure that will be linked somewhere off of this broadcast. And this ticker already has 7,000 people on the day of the launch. 7,000 people are already committed to come down on April the 21st. We've got 7,000 people who are already in the game, are committed to being here. And over these next 100 days, we're going to build momentum. We're going to build numbers. We're going to build our funding. And that's another thing I should talk about. We've got a crowdfunder. We need £1 million in that crowdfunder to support people to get here on the 21st and to stay here until our voices are heard. Now, I'm just wondering if I'm able to speak to a person I've just spotted here. Robin, I was wondering if we might have a quick word with you. How are you doing this morning? Are you up for a bit of a chat?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Will you excuse us just a moment? I'm sorry to interrupt your conversation. Robin, look, we are here on a bridge.
Yeah.
I've stood on this bridge quite a few times. I think I've even been arrested on this bridge once.
Yeah.
But we are changing tack now. This 100 days is a big moment for us all. And I know that you are a passionate, dedicated rebel. And I'm just wondering what this whole campaign means to you.
I'm going to be honest. They've always said, we know what you're talking about. We totally agree with you. We don't like your tactics. Well, we've called it out. We're saying this is the day. If you've got an issue with the way things are going on, and we know they're not dealing with anything to do with the climate crisis seriously at all, you're going to turn up now. It's about making friendships and relationships with lots of other groups that understand about climate breakdown and how it affects communities throughout the UK and the world, and it's happening to people around the world as we speak. Let's see, it's like put up or shut up time now, and we're going to make this work. People are going to come to Parliament Square, and we're going to demand change, and real change, not chat. We've had a lot of that, a lot of chatting, no actual doing from the government.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing, isn't it? Lots of people are saying, how effective has Extinction Rebellion been? We've changed the conversation, but now we need people to come together and demand action from the government. Because so far, we've seen just the other day, they've announced a new coal mine. They've got new fossil fuel licenses. Are you joking? Rishi Sunak flew to Leeds yesterday for half an hour of chat. They just don't get it.
If you want to add to what's going on with our waters, where they've allowed companies to put sewage into our water system, they're doing everything except what they're supposed to be doing. This is a huge opportunity for us to come together and demand real change. People can say that XI hasn't been effective. We have been effective. We got the government to even acknowledge there was a problem, and now we're changing tack because we want to win. It's not just about coming out and just protesting for the sake of it. We're here to win, and this is a really good way of turning the tables and allowing as many people as possible to be included in that conversation, when some may have been a bit reticent about non-violent direct action, which I still think is one of the the cornerstones of what we do. We also got to remind ourselves, the other thing about doing this work is how many activists are already in prison at the moment for doing activism work. It's not making the news. No one seems to care the sacrifice that these fantastic people are doing, where they've been put down for saying the right thing, for wanting the right thing. They're not criminals. They shouldn't be in jail, and we have to stand up for them, you know, as XR, as an environmental sister group. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, isn't it? You know, so I think, you know, protests are just a form of communication. You know, we've seen lots of different methods used. You know, throwing that soup on the painting, that is a form of communication. That is saying something needs to be said here.
Yeah.
This is a new form of communication. Well, not a new form, it's a new form of communication for Extinction Rebellion.
Yeah.
We're now not relying on arrests, we're relying on attendance. That's why it's so critical for people to hear that call. We need that 100,000 people to come down on April the 23rd. And if you can, stay until your voice has been heard. This is a democracy, I believe. I believe we are in a democracy, but our political system isn't working. So we are going to ask for that. We're going to come in no uncertain terms. I'm super grateful. Do you want to say anything else before we cruise on?
The other thing I want to say is I really encourage black, indigenous and people of colour to turn up. This is a huge way of us coming and talking about our countries of origin. Pakistan is suffering enormously. There's droughts happening in various parts of the world. Flooding is happening in various... And we all know that this climate crisis is racist because the places that get done first are our country. So I implore people of colour, indigenous people and my own black, African diaspora communities to come out, because this is the perfect opportunity in as safe an environment as we possibly can to stand up for our relatives in the global south. So yeah, that's what I'd like to say.
Thank you so much, Robin. I'm going to be there. You're going to be there.
Yeah.
Another 998,000 people are going to be there. Have I done the maths right?
Big stuff.
Let's do this. All right, let's cruise. Thank you so
Bye.
much. All right,
Bye.
see ya. Oh, well, I wonder, Tim, if we can have a quick look at this banner. Big old thing that it is without me